What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Paul Heyman teases Brock Lesnar's return, Roman Reigns set to face John Cena, WWE teaming up with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Paige gets banned from Twitch, Finn Balor wants to bring back the Demon, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's do the intro and get straight into the first story. Now, first story looks at Saturday's Summerslam in Las Vegas. There have been a number of rumors that the WWE plans on holding Summerslam in Las Vegas, a situation that hasn't been confirmed by the WWE. While we now know when the event is being held, there are conflicting stories as to where the event will take place. After much speculation, the WWE announced on 28th May that the biggest event of the summer returns Saturday, August 21st. The latest Wrestling Observer is reporting, while not confirmed, those within the company believe the show to be on 21st August at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. But with the Manny Pacquiao vs Errol Spencer Jr. fight already announced for 21st August in Las Vegas, it would make SummerSlam the secondary event of the weekend, and nothing has been said officially. Meltzer's report was published before the WWE's announcement, but what of the show's venue? Again, Las Vegas is heavily favored, but Meltzer points to a report from Sports Business Journal which suggests a number of additional locations, including Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, NRG Stadium in Houston, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and Nissan Stadium in Nashville as possibilities. In Meltzer's opinion, the problem is that the WWE doesn't want to go head-to-head against the fight. Meltzer also brought up how fans are used to watching WWE pay-per-views on Sunday nights, but as we saw with Wrestlemania, the WWE is willing to make exceptions as needed. Now that the 21st July has been confirmed, we aren't certain that Las Vegas will host SummerSlam. As Meltzer indicated, the WWE doesn't want to be seen as the secondary event that weekend. There's also the concern that the WWE might have a smaller crowd in Vegas due to a direct competition with the fight, something which would make for poor optics for the WWE's second pay-per-view event of this year with fans present. Of course, the WWE has dealt with small crowds before, something that was becoming all too common prior to the pandemic. But where do you guys think SummerSlam will be held this year, and are you planning on attending? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, John Cena vs Roman Reigns main event. This week's Wrestling Observer is also reporting that the WWE may have a stadium-worthy main event in WWE's biggest party of the year. Stories are going around that the WWE has a main event and a guest host to make it stadium-worthy. The leading rumor is Roman Reigns vs John Cena for the Universal title. We do know that as of last week, they were in talks with Cena that were not finalized to appear on the 16th July SmackDown show in Houston. We do know people within the company have talked of Reigns vs Cena as a match, but nobody has confirmed it. With Cena rumored to be returning to the WWE with the first SmackDown with fans present, things could get set up for a huge marquee match of Cena versus a heel Reigns. While this might seem like something better left for WrestleMania, the WWE has to work around Cena's Hollywood schedule, which typically prohibits him from wrestling while he's making a movie. However, what about the rumors of Cena wrestling Bobby Lashley? Well, turns out Lashley might have another opponent, as Paul Heyman drops more hints about Brock Lesnar's return. The question of in and when wrestling recluse Brock Lesnar will return to the squared circle continues to fascinate fans, and Paul Heyman's cryptic comments on the Beast Incarnate's comeback aren't helping. Lesnar's former advocate appeared on the Houston Sports Talk 790 radio show, and when asked about Lesnar's possible return, he answered, "Asking me about Brock Lesnar is a highly intelligent question, and I commend you on your efforts. However, it's a hypothetical. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do. If Brock Lesnar wanted to be back in the WWE at this moment, at this particular time and place, he would be. Maybe he has been waiting for the live events, and maybe he'll choose Houston to make the return, or maybe not, because Brock Lesnar is going to do whatever Brock Lesnar wants to do. If Lesnar does return for a match in front of fans at SummerSlam, might he wrestle current WWE Champion Bobby Lashley? Lashley's wish to wrestle Lesnar before he returned to the WWE in 2018 and past interviews suggest he hasn't given up on what could be a momentous match between the two main eventers, as well as two men with a history of competing in MMA. There's also the chance that the WWE would pit Lesnar against Reigns, a match fans have been speculating on ever since Paul Heyman aligned himself with the Tribal Chief. If Lesnar does return to the WWE, who should he face? And what about John Cena? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE partnering with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, are the two big promotions going to be partnering up? Well, that's the big question right now, as this week's Wrestling Observer is reporting Nick Khan has been in talks with New Japan Pro Wrestling about WWE being the exclusive American partner with the promotion. As noted by Meltzer, New Japan is currently working with AEW Impact and has had a relationship with CMLL and Ring of Honor, but things have slowed down with those companies since COVID. New Japan had been adamant about not working with AEW, but a change in New Japan's management coupled with AEW's breakout success seems to have changed attitudes. However, what would a WWE New Japan deal look like, and is it really gonna happen? Well, Meltzer's story added, obviously there are a million questions regarding such a deal if it was to happen, and there are no indications where talks are at. They date back to late March or early April. But it would include WWE sending talent and WWE top stars being allowed to work in New Japan if talks go anywhere. Meltzer also observed that the WWE is suddenly changing its previous isolationist practices, and why. With Khan, the former isolationist attitude of WWE versus everyone is changing, with the idea WWE is part of the wrestling landscape and not separate from the pro wrestling landscape. Obviously, it's also to keep New Japan, which pre-pandemic was the third strongest company in the world, away from working with other companies, which could strengthen the opposition and also be a factor with WWE gunning for the same talent. The story also illustrates how WWE President Nick Khan has become so important to the WWE's growth. Khan, who has negotiated some major deals for the WWE since becoming President and Chief Revenue Officer, including the distribution rights to the WWE Network to Peacock streaming service. Now, while Vince McMahon may or may not be aware of the significance of the competition from AEW as well as the promotion's alliance with smaller promotions, Khan obviously is, and is doing whatever he can to block it. Were New Japan to join forces with WWE, might Impact or CMLL drop its partnership with AEW. Whatever the case, Khan would likely want to do anything he could to disrupt AEW. Next up, the real reason Velveteen was fired. Now, while NXT superstar Velveteen Dream's recent release didn't surprise many fans, there are still a number of reasons why it was released. The current narrative is that Dream's unreliability and backstage conflict with other superstars led to his release, rather than the allegations made against him during the speaking out movement. One story is that NXT stars were afraid to complain about Dream as he has friends in very high places. However, a recent story from the Wrestling Observer suggests that Dream may have crossed paths with the wrong person. We were told the firing didn't have to do with those charges or anything that had been made public, but for a different incident that one of the top stars in the company alerted management to. Unfortunately, Meltzer didn't name names, but we'll continue this story if there are any further developments. Next up, Finn Balor wants to bring back the Demon. After a number of interviews suggesting he was done with his Demon persona, former NXT champion Finn Balor is singing a new song. During an appearance on the Out of Character podcast, there's still some life left in the Demon character for sure. Right now, I'm very happy being the Prince. I feel like, as I said before, this is the most like my true self in my WWE tenure, so I'm very happy. Balor kept the Demon under wraps during his recent run in NXT, but with rumors of Balor returning to the main roster, the WWE could see him somewhere down the road. My fans even see the Demon seek revenge on The Fiend, who sent Balor packing after their match at Summerslam. And finally, Paige banned from Twitch. Last but not least, it looks like former WWE superstar Paige won't be streaming on Twitch for a while, as she's reportedly been banned for streaming the film Dumb and Dumber. Heel by Nature reported, according to viewers, Paige, who streams as Saraya Official, was hosting an Amazon watch party when her broadcast cut mid-stream. One viewer sent Heel by Nature a message indicating the stream stopped during Jeff Daniels' infamous toilet scene. According to the Twitter account Streamer Bans, Twitch partner Saraya Official has been banned. Another Twitch user, an Eternal Enigma, pointed out what may have caused Paige's predicament. For those wondering, she was likely DMCA'd by a rights holder for watching Dumb and Dumber on the stream. Dumb and Dumber is not a movie eligible for Prime Watch parties on Twitch. The blue Watch Now button indicates what you can stream on Twitch with no issues. There's no word on the current status of Paige's Twitch account, but according to Hill by Nature, according to Twitch's guidelines, suspensions can range from 0 to 30 days with multiple violations leading to an indefinite suspension. It's unknown if she's had any previous strikes. Now, we won't comment on the irony of Paige's actions and the title of the film she was watching, but hopes her ban doesn't last that long. But there you have it, folks, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.